This news program is proudly brought to you by
Smart Start Breakfast Biscuits
and Now Biscuits.
Heads of financial units discuss anti-money laundering. Marape government to allocate land to address land issues. And K92 Mine reveals strong results for third quarter. Good evening. You're watching National EMTV News. I'm Rocky Issa. Thank you for joining us. We begin with the inaugural two-day Pacific Financial Intelligence Community and Heads of Financial Intelligence Units plenary in Port Moresby. The event took place today at the APEC House in Port Moresby and was officially launched by the acting governor for the Bank of Papua New Guinea, Benny Papatai. Representatives from the PFIC community came to participate in the 2 days program.
Over 100 participants came right across the Pacific region, including Australia and New Zealand, who are members of the PFIC community, to take part in this vital conference. The aim of this conference is to identify, develop and operationalize strategies to combat regional money laundering, terrorism financing and proliferating financing threats within the Pacific region. Acting Governor for the Bank of PNG, Benny Papatai, says their major challenge now is to face the mutual evaluation, which is an evaluation that is done by the Financial Action Task Force every 10 years.
To prepare for mutual evaluation, which starts in March next year. Mutual evaluation, every country must go through the process. I think every 10 years, all countries go through the process. We were evaluated in 2008 last. As a result of that, we were grey listed in 2013.
A rep from the Australian Transaction Report and Analysis Centre, Dr. John Moss, explains how organised financial crimes occur and the people that are affected by it.
It affects a country's revenue base. It affects the money available for expenditure in schools and hospitals. It threatens the safety of citizens in the streets, and it threatens the underpinning of a robust economy.
Dr. Moore says organised financial crimes does not respect anyone or any laws, and therefore the PFIC members will discuss on how to help each other during the 2 days meeting.
Because organised crime or financial crime does not respect rule of law, does not respect borders, does not respect human rights. So by working together in the region, the Pacific FIUs have the potential to learn from each other, to build capacity, to work on common crime pipes, and to go after the criminal targets. Collaboration is why we're here for the next 2 days.
PFIC is a regional body consisting of financial intelligence units in the Pacific. Financial intelligence units plays a vital role in maintaining national anti-money laundering and counter-terrorism regimes around the world. Their 2 days event commenced today and will conclude tomorrow. Samantha Solomon, National EMTV News.
The current evictions taking place in Port Moresby has moved the government into working on an ambitious plan which will allow working class citizens to own lands. Prime Minister James Marape revealed that his government is looking at unbundling land next year in a bid to clean up land issues. The recent evictions in Morata and ATS have moved the government to do something to address the land issues facing many ordinary Papua New Guineans. Prime Minister James Marape has stated that he feels for those that have been evicted and revealed that substantial land allocation has been considered for next year. This was his advice to all citizens.
Don't settle on land that is not yours. We're trying our absolute best to stop further evictions, but I can control when someone runs to court and has a court order that is live. then those court orders gets implemented.
The issue with land have been ongoing, and past and present governments have tried their best to resolve this issue. The Marape government is no exception, with the Prime Minister announcing that next year there will be land allocation.
For next year onwards, for Papua New Guinea, our government will put in place a program to clean up the land issues and get more state land available. And we plan proper so Papua New Guineans could settle down properly.
The Prime Minister also highlighted the criteria needed to be eligible for land allocation.
We target to announce to every person who is working in an urban area or you engage in an SME. Next year we'll have a specific allocation for land and unbundling of land, and you don't have to queue up in Lands Department. We'll try to give a title each to every Papua New Guinean who is working or engaged in a productive SME.
Over the last decade, from 2012 to 2021, this newsroom has reported many evictions of people from informal settlements in Port Moresby. The decade was marked by a sustained pattern of citywide evictions that took place at the same time that leaders sought to rebrand and develop the National Capital District as a cosmopolitan city in the region. K92 Mining, the operator of the Kainantu gold mine in the Eastern Highlands province, has announced strong financial results for the third quarter. During the third quarter, the mine produced 32,995 ounces of gold, equivalent or 29,256 ounces of gold, 1,666,076 pounds of copper, and 32,161 ounces of silver, with strong cost of $909 per ounce gold, inclusive of sustaining capital expenditures. K92 also reported revenue of $36.4 million, a net income of $3.1 million, and operating cash flow of $12.8 million. K92 Mining Inc. is engaged in the production of gold, copper and silver at the Kainantu gold mine in the Eastern Highlands province of Papua New Guinea, as well as exploration and development of mineral deposits in the immediate vicinity of the mine. On Monday this week, K92 Mine revealed its third quarter financial results. Mine CEO and Director John Lewins gave an overview of the results via conference call.
In the third quarter, we took another step forward, delivering multiple operational milestones, including record ore processed, record ore mined, near record development advanced, strong all-in sustaining and cash costs, while also ending the quarter with the company's strongest financial position to date.
A major positive from the mine over the last several quarters has been the process plant, and was once again for the third quarter. Ore tonnes processed increased 35% from quarter 3 2021 and was significantly higher than the stage 2 expansion run rate.
Q3 marked the first quarter where we achieved the Stage 2A expansion run rate of 1,370 tonnes per day for an entire month, having achieved 1,373 tonnes per day during the month of August. Quarter over quarter, mill throughput increased 8% to 1,282 tonnes per day. Strong mill throughput performance is particularly significant as it was achieved without the installation of the new flotation cells, which will roughly double a rougher flotation capacity, highlighting that there is further upside in terms of throughput and also obviously in terms of improving our recovery.
Despite the high gold production as costs rise amid an expansion, K92 Mining quarter 3 profits dropped by 34%. The company said it had earned $3.1 million or $0.01 per share in the quarter, down from $4.87 million or $0.02 in the year prior period. Revenue rose 1.8% to $36.4 million.
Lastly, third quarter delivered two major growth milestones: the Integrated Development Plan evaluating the Stage 3 DFS and the Stage 4 PEA. And in addition to that, we also reported our maiden inferred resource at Blue Lake of 10.8 million ounces gold equivalent. Subsequent to quarter end, we also delivered high-grade drilling results at Kora, Kora South, Judd, Judd South, as well as maiden results for our Northern Deeps target, representing a significant expansion to our strike length while also intersecting dilatant zones in both Kora and Judd. The Integrated Development Plan demonstrates at Kainantu we have a Tier 1 asset.
Operationally, Kainantu delivered one of the most complete quarters to date, with near record production, development, record ore processed, and record ore mined. The election petition number 1 of 2022, which is for Henry Ame, who is challenging the member for Goroka Open and Agriculture Minister Aye Tambua and the Electoral Commission of Papua New Guinea, was heard at the Waigani National Court today in Port Moresby. The matter was set for pre-trial conference today, where the court is now fixed for trial come March 2023 in Goroka, Eastern Highlands Province.
Henry Ame, the petitioner, is the former member for the Goroka Open seat, challenging Aye Tambua, sitting member for Goroka and the Minister for Agriculture.
One was the first EP that we filed in all of the 102 election petitions in this country here. But somehow we kind of some directions, orders were not complied with by parties, so that's why it took a little while to complete before we can actually come to the pre-trial conference.
The petition challenged has 6 counts of bribery allegations. Lawyer representing Henry Ame explains the matter.
I told the judge that the grounds is only on bribery. We had 2 direct bribery and 4 indirect bribery. So in total, we have about 6 grounds altogether.
The court, through Justice Joseph Yagi, has adjourned the matter to next month and has set the date for trial.
The judge indicated that he can give us at least 10 days. So we have now set the trial dates to the March, commencing on the 6th to the 17th of March for the trial to be conducted in Goroka.
Grace Papiali, National EMTV News.
Meanwhile, Henry Ame, the former member for Goroka Open, has made his statement following his Court of Disputed hearing today at the Waigani National Court.
With the date of trial set on the 6th to the 17th of March 2023 at the Goroka National Court in Eastern Highlands Province, Henry Ame has appealed to his election supporters, including the people of Goroka, to remain neutral and respect the process of the law.
Just appealing to our people in Goroka. We've got a trial date set, so from both camps, both supporters have to be, be respectful to the law and respect to each other, and let the court process go through, and we'll see what happens.
With Ame's case based on 6 counts of bribery allegations, he emphasized that this act can be stopped if taken to the courts to be settled, so that there will be transparency in the conduct of future elections.
Anybody who's intending to stand, is aware of what's going to happen. Try to bribe people, so then elections will be run properly and in a good manner, clean, open, fair. So that's what we want to happen in the future. So.
Grace Papiali, National EMTV News.
National EMTV News continues after the break. Warring clans in Porgera agree for peace, and church leaders highlight law and order situation. Those stories next. Stay with us. You're watching National EMTV News. We continue with more national stories. And the 2 warring clans in Porgera, Enga Province, that caused destructions to lives and properties near Payam Township recently have agreed to lay down arms. The leaders of the warring factions agreed to make peace during the 3rd mediation attempt that went successfully at Warburg Town on Monday.
Concerned stakeholders, including Porgera Payala MP Maso Karipe, Acting Provincial Administrator Sandis Saka, Provincial Police Commander George Kakas, and other senior leaders witnessed the occasion. Prior to the peace meeting, Nixon Pakia, president of Porgera Chamber of Commerce, told EMTV News a lot of lives and properties were lost, and law and order problem was a primary concern for the people of Porgera, as it was affecting all government services.
This year, schools problem, academic year affected. Our sick, it was on Payam Hospital, closed.
He added that public servants had also fled Payam Township and there was no banking service as well. During the peace meeting, leaders of the warring Ayala and Nomali clans agreed to lay down arms and make peace. MP Maso Karipe thanked the clan leaders and called for lasting peace as they work on restoring public service and normalcy. He added that the government's concern was in getting Porgera mine restarted soon and called on warring factions to cease fighting immediately. After the peace agreement, the factions left for Porgera the same night along with the member to Porgera to announce the end of the fight to the general public. Prior to the announcement, the local MP held a meeting with all stakeholders and leaders at Porgera, expressing the need for change of attitude.
So now we will pass this law. This decision also fight normal and finish now.
He also announced that the District Development Authority has been fixed into place for the electorate and Payala people would soon have a road built for them. However, he warned those involved in trouble fighting to stop that practice if they want government services. He called on the people involved in fighting to consider the children's future as well as safety of the women folk and vulnerable members of the community. Cynthia Maku, National EMTV News.
The chairman for Body of Christ Church, Reverend Joseph Walters, said law and order issues are increasing in PNG every day and killings has become a norm. In a press conference today, he made an appeal to the government and the institutions that deal with law and order together with the general public to stand together to resolve this issue.
Reverend Walters said the law and order situation in PNG has been affected since the 2022 national general election period. He said killing and fighting is experienced every day across all provinces in the country, including the capital city. He stressed that a collective effort is needed to stop this ongoing violence in the country.
The law and order situation has kind of been triggered by the elections. And during and after the election, he has not subsided very much. And especially the rise in violent crimes, where it's like killing has become a normal thing and nothing wrong with it. And this should be of grave concern to people in leadership and responsibility in the whole nation. Like I said, especially people who are tasked with carrying out the law and order and also tasked with taking leadership and managing different aspects of our country well so that we can quell and subdue and as much as possible minimize the law and order situation.
Meanwhile, the Secretary for Body of Christ, Pastor Bernard Koke, said majority of the law and order issues that we are facing right now is through people's behaviors.
We have to respect one another. It's not money, it's about life. We are now struggling to survive. On that token, Papua New Guinea is a Christian nation. The government is also doing the best that it could do.
He said we cannot blame the government for all this ongoing violence in the country. Pastor Koke is calling on all the Christians and pastors that they will have a 21 day of fasting and praying, which will start tomorrow and end in December.
So we are now appealing people to stand with us and let's go into 21 days of fasting and prayer. That start tomorrow on the 17th and we are going to finish on the 8th of December, and that's 21 days. And we ask you, I know it's a festive weekend where time when everybody's going to into party and all that, but let's have a concern for our nation.
Esther Gane, National EMTV News.
Meanwhile, the Deputy Chairman for the Body of Christ Church, Michael Wilson, said PNG is not doing well on the economic front. He said most people in the settlements and villages are struggling to survive on a daily basis as the cost of daily necessities are expensive. He is appealing to the government to reduce the price of basic goods.
Just give you a little
Pastor Wilson said due to the international factors like the Russia-Ukraine war, COVID-19 and other local issues that we are facing right now really affects the PNG economy. He said their everyday engagement is with small people and they see that people are really struggling to survive.
The situation is dire straits, especially to our small people, especially those ones in the village and in the settlements alike. The church is on a daily basis engaged with this group of people, and we'd like to appeal to our government, to our institutions that are responsible to see that our economy recovers quickly, number one, but most importantly to do an immediate step in and do an immediate rescue package for our small people. Our church position is to ask them.
Pastor Wilson is also appealing to the government to make use of the resources that we have and try not to create avenues where we will spend unnecessarily to other countries.
And also we'd like to ask that let us not borrow if we don't have to borrow, because tomorrow our kids are going to be in very, very difficult situation to be able to pay those back. We know our government has a plan, but as a church, we have the duty to call upon the government to be careful as we borrow, because we're going to burden our next generation, our kids. And also, at the same time, the biggest message is, can we tighten our belt in the spending, especially through the government departments, through the work that we do.
The National Prayer Coordinator for Body of Christ Church, Daniel Hewali, said PNG is going through so much challenges and it is beyond people's control.
Nobody will deny their existence. And
he urged everyone to change attitudes, attend churches and pray to God for help.
The problems, the situation we are facing today is beyond the ability of any economic or any government or any political leaders to solve and come up with amicable solutions that they desire in life. So we at church are appealing to every one of us that I believe we need to go to God.
Esther Gane, National EMTV News.
Executive Director of the Institute of National Affairs, Paul Barker, said the government's first move to save money in the Sovereign Wealth Fund should have been better if savings had been done back in the years when PNG had economic boosts. Barker thinks the government should take the Sovereign Wealth Fund seriously.
Independent thinker Paul Barker said the Sovereign Wealth Fund was established back in the 2000s as an offshore savings where money coming in from the mineral sector and other savings can be put aside to cater for future generation. Mr. Barker said these savings should have been done back in the years when the country had economic boost.
That would have been when we should have been putting part of the revenue into the Sovereign Wealth Fund. Instead, we put it into something which was basically a bunch of trust funds to try and avoid having to spend the money immediately and having an inflationary effect, to put the money aside and to make it available later.
He said instead of saving revenues coming into the country into the SWF, the country has been spending money in the form of borrowing.
Since 2012, we've been consistently borrowing and having a major budget deficit. So instead of putting money aside into a sovereign wealth fund and then getting interest or dividends from the sovereign wealth fund by investing in treasury bills overseas.
According to International Monetary Fund, an offshore fund like the SWF would help protect the competitiveness of the non-mineral sector like agriculture by sterilizing government savings. The Mara Peroso government is focused on agriculture, forestry and fisheries to grow the economy. Mr. Barker said it is important for the SWF to be actively operating so that money coming in from the mineral sector like the LNG can be saved to stop liquidity, which can lead to inflations and undermine the agriculture, forestry and fisheries ability to trade.
And the other one is this sterilization function, if you like. It's to stop all the money flowing into PNG for a period of time when you get a lot of resource projects going on, pushing up the currency further and and then undermining the viability of all other activities. So all those functions are there with the Sovereign Wealth Fund.
The Sovereign Wealth Fund has two functions. The first is the Stabilization Fund, and it is to manage the impact of fluctuating minerals and petroleum public revenues on the economy by promoting and supporting macroeconomic stability. And the Development Fund shall provide the ongoing funding for economic and social development. Cynthia Maku, National EMTV News.
Papua New Guinea and Singapore at the margins of the United Nations 27th Climate Conference in Egypt signed a memorandum of understanding to signify their collaboration in carbon markets as part of their efforts to meet their respective national determined contributions commitment under the Paris Agreement.
Conservation and Climate Change of Papua New Guinea.
Minister for Environment, Conservation and Climate Change of PNG, Simo Kilepa, and Singapore's Minister for Sustainability and the Environment, Ms. Grace Fu, signed the MOU for their respective governments, witnessed by PNG and Singapore delegates and invited guests at COP27. Both ministers hailed the MOU as a clear demonstration of a joint partnership to fight the growing adverse impact of climate change affecting countries. Minister Kilepa said he is pleased with this important MOU between PNG and Singapore, being the first ever MOU for cooperation on carbon credits under Article 6 of the Paris Agreement on climate change.
Take this opportunity to briefly say that Singapore is an important close neighbor, friend and development partner for Papua New Guinea. We value the bilateral partnership and also in the multilateral area.
The MOU will further contribute to strengthening the existing cordial bilateral relations between both countries and foster constructive dialogue and cooperation in areas of mutual interest, including on climate change, trade and investment. During the MOU signing, Minister Fu highlighted the background to the MOU and its importance in combating climate change impacts. She said in COP26 last year, they successfully concluded Article 6 of the Paris Agreement, paving the way for carbon markets for voluntary cooperation between countries to meet their NDCs and to advance global climate action and ambition. She added that it was with great pleasure to be signing the MOU and looks forward to working together in identifying mutually beneficial compliant carbon credit projects for both countries in achieving the NDCs.
This MOU signals our two countries' common desire and commitment to collaborate on high-quality carbon markets. Under the MOU, Singapore and Papua New Guinea will work towards an implementation agreement that will set out a bilateral framework for the transfer of carbon credits with corresponding adjustments aligned with Article 6 of the Paris Agreement.
Kilepa said the MOU is a groundbreaking milestone for PNG. Under the MOU, Singapore and PNG will work towards an implementation agreement that will set out the bilateral framework for the transfer of carbon credits with corresponding adjustments aligned with Article 6 of the Paris Agreement. This will be presented to Cabinet together with other key achievements from the conference. Sharon Engnui, National EMTV News.
And now looking at the NASFAR market report. The Kina closed unchanged at 0.2840 US dollars in the interbank market this morning. At Bank South Pacific, your Kina was buying 0.2765 US dollars, 0.4062 Australian dollars, and 0.2600 euro, and 38.11 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, gold is trading lower, coffee closed lower, cocoa closed lower, copper closed lower, palm oil closed lower, crude oil is trading lower, and copper closed lower. And on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed higher, the ASX 200 is trading lower, and the All Ordinaries is trading lower. National EMTV News continues after the break. North Fly MP encourages importance of agriculture and a cocoa festival to celebrate chocolate. That's coming up. Stay with us. Welcome back to National MTV News. North Fly MP James Donald is encouraging his people to get involved in different agricultural activities. This will help bring self-sustainability in the district.
Getting involved in different agricultural activities is important to generate income for individuals and families. Local MP James Donald is encouraging all customary landowners to free up some portion of their land areas so that agricultural activities can be increased in the future. These were comments he made after visiting the Samagos Agriculture Center in Kiunga. He said locals must not depend too much on the Octedi mining for Community Mine Continuation Agreement or CMCA payments. This is to ensure self-sustainability is maintained post-mine life in 2032. Donald said the district has the potential to produce rice, cocoa, vanilla, rubber and others. Hence, the people of North Fly should think critically on how they can contribute meaningfully to the district's development and not just dependent on the government. He said the North Fly District Development Authority will work closely with the Fly River Provincial Government to ensure agricultural activities are maintained in the district. Jim John, National MTV News.
Bougainville cocoa farmers showcased their rich cocoa beans and cocoa products during a two-day mini chocolate festival held in October. After a two-year interruption due to COVID-19, Bougainville's famous chocolate festival resumed in a mini form at Independence Oval in Arawa, attracting cocoa farmers from Bougainville. The festival coincided with the launch of the Bougainville Cocoa Regulation Act. The Act outlines standards and compliance measures intended to improve the productivity, quality and international market access of the Bougainville cocoa bean. A highlight was the Bean to Bar chocolate competition, judged by a panel of international cocoa experts, chocolate experts and chocolatiers. Judges included renowned chocolatiers and distributors Una Brown from New Zealand and Thibaut Fregoni from Australia. And Trukai Sports continues next on MTV National News.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. FinCorp has announced its sponsorship of the 2022 New Britain Golf Open. This sponsorship also demonstrates strides to create economic opportunities with various partners of the tournament. Acting Chief Executive Officer for FinCorp, Andre Besta, said their mission is to provide financial services that enable economic progress and growth. To soccer, and the PNG national women's soccer team, who are preparing for the upcoming international friendly fixture ahead of the 2023 FIFA World Cup qualifier. This was further explained by PNG Football Association Secretary General, Mr. Pius Letenge.
After having competed and losing two of their Pacific 4 tournament fixtures, PNG's national women's soccer squad will now prepare to take on Philippines next month.
There is a program that was developed in consultation with international partners, and in the program there are a lot of friendlies. There were a lot of friendlies, and I think there will be friendlies played in overseas.
A program put forward by PNG FA in partnership with international countries was sanctioned, where participating countries will have more opportunities to compete in friendly matches.
So right now is compared to the previous preparation before the girls went into Fiji, is that the team will be overseas. They'll be moving in. They'll be moving a lot, and they will be going through trainings, and they will be playing against teams who who are competitive in their competitions. Yeah?
Mr. Letenge added that the advantage of PNG national women's soccer team participating in these friendlies is that it will expose the players to face off with competitive soccer nations in preparation for the FIFA World Cup 2023.
Boaloa has won it back, and Gunimba was almost off down the middle. Veronica made sure she wasn't.
Apart from the friendly match scheduled for December between PNG and Philippines, PNG national women's soccer squad will also compete against Australia and New Zealand. Lisa Puni, Trukai Sports.
Trukai Sports continues after a break with more sports stories. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
You're watching Trukai Sports. Following the social media speculation of PNG Football Association's inability to field the national women's soccer squad in the Pacific Four tournament staged in Australia, EMTV visited PNG Football Association today and spoke to the PNG FA General Secretary, Mr. Pius Letenge, who cleared the air on the matter.
She's one of them.
In the case of the Pacific Queens, the national women's soccer team, according to PNG FA Secretary General Mr. Pius Letenge, PNG FA did not fail to field a squad, but the number of players selected to participate in the Pacific Four tournament did not meet the standard.
PNG FA never failed to put a team in that game against the Matildas. And 11 players in the. This is not a domestic. It's not a local competitions where you can allow, only two players in the. It's an international event, so we had to follow protocols. So the technical director had to write in advance to the local organizing committee that we do not have the team to field in the match.
In any given match, there is a standard put forward by the organizing committee where clubs are to follow. As alluded to by Mr. Letenge, supporters and spectators must bear in mind that there are proper rules and regulations that must be followed in any given sport.
Technically, in a match, there should be like 16 players and officials. So they should be registered in the comment system, and it should be part of the match. The people also need to know that only 19 players travel to Australia. The rest, 15 of the girls, are still here in the country.
Other contributing factors surrounding the issue were visa and passport renewal of players and other technical issues.
Confederation Cup in Auckland, 19th of February next year. They will face Panama or Papua New Guinea.
Mr. Letenge confidently stated that this turnout and the current participation of PNG in Sydney was on an invite. Therefore, this will not affect the outcome of the upcoming 2023 FIFA World Cup qualifier, as the squad has already secured a spot in the World Cup.
Becca's got a touch on that. Again, time for...
Meanwhile, PNG has lost 2 of its fixtures in the tournament that was subjected to late trainings and preparations. The defeat is accepted and they look forward to getting better moving forward.
Boaloa is having a good battle with Dialoe.
Lisa Puni, Trukai Sports.
That ends Trukai Sports. The Money Plus weather report for the next 24 hours is next. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports. Trukai Sports.
This weather update is proudly brought to you by MoneyPlus, with you always.
Weather forecast for the next 24 hours. Southern region, Port Moresby partly cloudy, Daru cloudy and showers, Kirima rain and cloudy, Alatau cloudy and showers, and Popondetta patchy rain. Momasa region, Ley brief showers, Wild brief showers, Madane fine and cloudy, Wewak mostly fine, and Vanimo brief showers. Ningni Island region, Lorengau fine, Cavian fine, Kokopo and Rabaul mostly fine, and Buka mostly fine, Kimbe fine and cloudy. And in the Highlands region, Mount Hagen rain and fog, Goroka cloudy and fog, Kundiawa cloudy and fog, and Mendi and Warburg rain and fog.
The weather update was proudly brought to you by MoneyPlus, with you always.
And that wraps up the news, sports and weather for Wednesday, the 16th of November, 2022. From all of us here, pleasant viewing and bye for now.
This news program was proudly brought to you by Smart Start Breakfast Biscuits and Gold Nuggets.